Hello everyone, I'm Rob Smith of Smiths in the Black, and we're back with another Power Hour back on Mondays. If you're brand new, we do this every Monday, unless it's a holiday, then we'll do it on a Tuesday, but pretty much every week we got to make sure everybody gets up to speed on how to do the strat and what's going on. Also for newer folks or older folks alike, if you can't make it, you can always email questions in, and I usually begin with the email questions. That way it's recorded and everybody can hear the questions and all that kind of stuff, and so can you if you can't make it. So always be aware of that. If you have questions, you can start typing them in. As usual, I start with the email questions, but especially for new folks, I just want to make sure that you know the schedule of what we do here and that I'm on the headset all day long, from the open to the close. I do the Strat time report at 12:30 Eastern every day, and if you can't make that, I would watch it later at night, see what I said, see what happened. Each night I make a very brief video about what we're looking at for the next day and what's going on. And then on Tuesdays we do the Strat Attack Show, and that's basically where I'm looking to see, here I'll type that in for you, Robert Smith's in the Black. Oops, go away. And there's my email for questions. And then Tuesday we do the Strategy Hack Show, where I talk about more of the weeklies and the monthlies and what's following through on any given Monday through a Tuesday. Because on Tuesday, after the close, we get to, you're welcome. On Tuesday we want to see how they started off the week and who follows through and who reverses. Right? That's all you hear me 2-2 on a Tuesday. Those are reversals, right? And so that's kind of some of the stuff we're looking for there. And then there's the weekend video. And then once a month is the macro video. And that's where we talk about the quarterly and yearly signals that are in force. So if you got questions, you can start typing them in. I'll go to the email first. Okay. First question. I have a time frame question. My intention is to buy a stock and hold it through the day or longer if it's moving, staying positive. I can't necessarily watch the stock constantly through the day. Should I be looking for weekly time frame using the daily time frame as an entry point, or does it really matter as long as it's an actionable signal? You can take either. You can also take a monthly. I currently look at the monthly, weekly, daily for time frame continuity. Yep, that'll do it. And I look at the daily for my actionable signal and set the entry point off the daily signal. Yeah, you can. I'm good with that, but you can also take the monthlies or the weeklies too as soon as they go, so long as it stays profitable. Because some of those monthly signals, like if you get them fast enough, like a nice, well, let's get rid of this. Something like an Autodesk. If you got that baby, boom, on the monthly right there, that was nice. So you did have a gapper in there, but if you can get something like that right out the chute, then you can hold it all month. You can hold it longer if you want. As long as you're at a profit, I don't care. It's up to you. But we've had for a while, until we had that Friday sell-off, we had a lot of problems with follow-through and a lot of things. And that's where we were going out to more monthlies and stuff like that, or we were just going day to day because a lot of things were just chopping around. As we know, SPY was just doing this. SPY was just chopping around on the daily. Qs are even worse. Qs are just, look at this, look at that, and look at this. It's no good until you can get them triangulate out. And also you want to make sure when you're doing that you're trading reversals on those weeklies and monthlies and stuff like that. That gives you the magnitude when you have the 2-2s or 3-2-2s. So I would do that, but you can take any signal really. Any two is actually actionable. It's just a matter of how actionable it is. So let's see, next question. Okay. Rob, absolutely love learning the strat. Awesome. Been a professional trader since 1999, enjoying trading the strat more than I've enjoyed trading in a long time. Good. Yeah, it clarifies and it relaxes, everything that you've gone through in the past, that's for sure. I have a hard time completely understanding the Rev Strat concept. I know it's a 1-2-2 or 1-3, but I still don't know if I'm grasping the significance of this setup. Can you talk through behind the Rev Strat? I enjoyed example. Fighting the playground right. The dudes came back. Let's say, so today in the SPY, today's SPY 60, Rev Stratted. So the significance of it is that anytime you have an inside bar, that's an equilibrium, right? And so somebody's got to at least, it's going to too. A 1 is going to 2 eventually. It has to, right? It might go 1, 1, 1 or something like that, but it's going to go 2 eventually. And 2 is actionable. It's a matter of whether you're going to have a continuation or a reversal. So in this case, today, right? So here's the tug of war. We're even. And they attempted the upside. Boom. Nope. And so it's reversing the equilibrium of the inside bar. So it either does it. So if this was a 120 or whatever, these two would be an outside bar of that. That would be your 1-3. Otherwise, it's the 1, 2, 2. So all it is the failure of an equilibrium break. That's all a rev strat is. So I know sometimes people get confused the difference between a reversal and a rev strat. All a rev strat is a 3 reversal or a 2-2 reversal after a 1, right? But all that means, and so once again, here, if they did it once, they might do it again, and you can see this right back in their face, right? So they're like, you can see how minuscule that was. Then they stop them out, but then the sellers didn't step down. They came back up, and if you're following along with my handy dandy tries, draw that last month, right there, tick tock ticky. And so now, so this equilibrium is still important, just like 3s are important because they're broadening formations. And as I discussed in the weekend video, one of the important concepts that we use is simultaneous breaks, right? I can't stress that enough, right? And that's what we had on Friday, right? Here, if you didn't get a chance to watch the weekend vid, triangle day out, right? Countering this stuff, and then boom, 2-2 reversal on the 60, and it happened in everything. QQQ. Here, diamonds. I think the small cappers were an insider, but stop them out right here, and they all broke at the same time, right? That's important to know. That means they're torpedoing all the futures, right? Not just one of them. And so that's why we always look for confirmation across the broader averages, and it can happen sector-wise. You know, when if all stocks in the same sector are doing something like that too. So I always want to touch on that important concept. Next question. If you guys got questions, you start typing them in. Okay. Okay, question. I was looking short bone off the monthly. Let's get it. Boing. Hold on. So boing. Off the month here. All right. 210.94. We ticked down and rallied back up. At what point should I cover? I'd cover as soon as it gets back into the range. Oh, what time should you cover? I think 211. Yeah, right. As soon as it ticks back up, I want it to stay down there. Or look for it on the. So it's 210.90. Yeah, you don't want to let it come back up and all this stuff. So the 30. Yeah, it pokes down. You're going straight into the lows, right? So you just got to cover that and let it set up again. And now, because you had your day down, that was directional, right? This is directional stuff. So you're not trading a reversal like the rev strat here. I'm not the rev strat. I mean the 2-2 here. Failed rev strat. Randy Jackson actually. So you're trading directionally. It's got to keep going. Otherwise, you're walking right into a triangle. And Corville was daily rev strat that I was watching. Started down then reverse. What is the optimal point to cover? Just even. I don't want anything going against me, especially if I'm trading on a Monday. Right. So Corville poked down. I don't want this thing coming back up. Nope. Nope. Now you're looking at an outside day. Right there. Still an inside weaker. You do have your red month. But on a Monday, I mean, plus you were watching that from the weekend vid. You know, if all the semis started going, yeah, but that's not what happened. They tried and they ticked right back up. So we don't mess around with losers. If they go, they go. And Shopee. So Shopee goes 1 bar rev strat monther. That was it. Stop them out and right back up. Right, so they did it in one shot. All the selling was right there. And that's it. Right out the chute, which completed the magnitude. Right there's your 1-3 rev strat. Um, so we're interested in buying a reversal August 20th low. Uh, August 20th low here. Okay, you're trying to catch the bottom with a try because one's a 3, always a 3, can't not be. And so this is an interesting thing too, is that if you're looking at only time frame continuity, you're not bringing the triangles in, right? The threes, once a 3, always a 3, can't not be. They might do it again. They paid up and they sold down. They might do that again, right? Once you're messing with a 3, right, then you want to stay in continuity control. And what that means is you couldn't get that daily to go, but that 60 was overriding everybody here. That was it. That was all she wrote. And Baba. Baba tries to take the weaker. Baba's just kind of gapping and sitting and doing nothing. That's the problem. And so, could you have taken this to the upside on the 60 reversal? Yeah, you can take that because on the daily, that's going to turn that thing green. That's control. The 60 and the daily can override the weekly and the monthly. Because if they're green, I can't identify the sellers until here. So you're going to see this on the 60 Baba. Country and Western. 2260 here. Then it tried to go directional, then rev stratted. Boom! Take her back down. And if that works, you might get the re-break. Your hopes is you retake the opening of the day and re-break that week. But you can see the reasons that we hold off a lot on a Monday. And that's why Strat attacks on Tuesday. I want to see, so this is the opening act, right? On Mondays. And so that's why Strat attacks on Tuesday. I want to see the follow through. I know what they're trying to do. The question is, they're going to be successful and mow them down. And that's also why you'll hear me say no hurry if you've done nothing yet, right? Let those 30/60s close, right? Take a look at them. Everybody's all gung-ho with their watch list on a Monday morning, and a lot of people get carried out. And then by the time the real trade sets up, they're too exhausted or they lost money already and they don't want to do anything. Be very, very patient. Okay. Next question from email. Today, right out of the gates, many stocks sold off and only rebounded towards the end of the day. What is a great way to capture the selling at the opening, selling short or buying puts, and maybe buy puts with strikes at magnitude on the downside or at the money puts? Yeah, you can do magnitude. Sarah likes to do a lot of that. And it depends on the stock and what's liquid and what's not. And not everybody's going to be that fast and say, I'm just going to take, just jump in there and, not everybody's that quick either. So that type of trading is not for everybody. You can take breaks as soon as they happen, but look, as far as the SPY is concerned, you're going straight into the lows, right? That can be a problem. The good thing was that it gapped up and then peaked. That was the good part. It was started as an inside day, but went blood red on the way down on the opening 60. Let's have that 30. So the question is where you got in on that, if you're going to do this. But you know that you're going to hit magnitude here, and then it's got to stay down there, right? And you're also 2 down in the week, looking for the 3-month there, but it's a little directional. So it doesn't mean you don't take it, it's just be aware of that. And that's why if you just wait for those nice reversals for ye. But yeah, you can do all those strikes of magnitude at the money, selling short, yeah, anything. Okay, now let's go to you guys. If a stock is tuing up on the hourly, daily, and weekly, all green and green, but still inside on the month, do you consider that full time frame continuity? Yes. Continuity has nothing to do with scenarios. And if it's not going to stay inside, that's the condition it's going to be in. Continuity is just a direction from the opening. That's it. Because we want to know the opening and who's more aggressive. So far, it's the sellers on the week. So far, it's the sellers on the month. It was the sellers on the day. Then the 60 countered here, and that's why you'll hear me say mind the flip. Right here. And you can see that 60 just poked down a little bit. Once that thing went green, outside bar coming. And boom, and these two become an outside bar of all that stuff. It's because oftentimes what you're going to see, when you have that inside bar equilibrium, price discovery starts over again, and that's exactly what happens. Slight higher high, lower low, higher high. There's your price discovery broadening formation. See? And that's why we get out of stuff, right? Because oftentimes, sometimes we're so efficient that that we can spot the tries before they're big enough, right? And be like, oh, I got that triangle. I'm like, it's not big enough. They'll get bigger. They do. All right, you can see in they try they out right here. Boom. There you go. And so if it's an inside week that is approaching becoming a 2, should you wait for it to become 2, not outside as a 3? Should you wait for it, or can you enter actual signal on a smaller time frame? Yes, you can. You can enter on a smaller time frame because what you're going to do is you're going to have sub tries in there, which if the magnitude of the shorter term signal is going to trigger that too, you can take that, because that's going to what we're doing is essentially using participants against each other. And so that shorter term time frame is going to trigger those bigger guys. That's what we want. It's like, no, you go down the alley. we send them down the alley, see if the coast is clear or not. Right? We're using other people as our stooges to do the testing for us. And which ones did you say? Which words were exact? Twizzlers. Yep. The 3-2. Boom. 3-2 puker. And then that's you get the immediate puking. Because if that worked, it takes out that weekly shooter. Right? Still doji on the month, not doing much, but could have gotten a lot worse. Just didn't. They just hit a lot of these things real fast and hard, and there you go, boom. And then inside 60, take her back up for the 2-1-1-2. And you can take that because the 60's in control, and if that works, it sets up the hammer. And you're already playing with their money if you got the 3-2 break. That's what we like to do, the country and western. If you got this break, boom, you can take this on the way back up. And if that works, you get your hammer, and you're still good. Making sense, everybody? And here's another thing I'm going to tell you too, especially if you're brand new. Don't try and be the master of all this stuff. That's a common problem where people think that they have to. Oh, that's right. Time from yeah. So you don't have to be the master of everything, right? Some people want to come in here and like, I want to know everything about every strat setup and everything. You don't have to do that, right? You're gonna hear me say this over and over. One trick pony's fine. You're like, what do? I trade 2-2 reversals on the 60 openings. Boom, right here. Boom. That's all I do. That's it. Right? And you can see how all these, were an inside bar of that. Right? So it's a compound rev strat. This is all an inside bar. Then they poked them up, and then boom, you're gonna come out and take these guys out in one shot. Right? Your hopes is you go all the way down to here, but you got your pivot machine gun of these guys. Boom. Nice hour you got there, Rob. Thank you. Yep, one trick works. I think it was Bruce Lee that said, "I'd rather trade against the guy that has 10,000 trading ideas as opposed to the one guy that trades the same setup over and over 10,000 times." Right? Yep. Everything's recorded. All that stuff's recorded. Yeah, no need for the fancy pants, Randy Jacksons, and all that kind of stuff. Because you'll hear me say this over and over again: the 2-2 and the 3-2-2s, the magnitude's built right in. The triangle's built. You know what you're doing. It's built for you. Randy Jackson's a failed rev strat. so in this case, SPY wasn't a failure. It actually worked, but let's say that it only poked down a little bit on here, but didn't hit magnitude, and then on the flip goes racing back the other way. That's a Randy Jackson. Named after Randy Jackson, who is a strat trader that decided that rev strats were too tight for him, so he wanted even more traders to be screwed before he enters to make sure the triangle's bigger. So that's what he does. It's just funny because his name is Randy Jackson. That's where that came from. A Texas stratter. And I get this question a lot too on the gappers. I'm like, are we going long? Are we going short? It like depends on the signal, how it sets up. You're going to have a reversal. Are you coming back to a previous range? Are you going into new highs? What are you doing? And that's why I go through them in the morning. You know, also, does the stock have any relationship with anything else? You know, is it causing anything else to happen? You know, all that kind of stuff. Also, a question I get a lot. All right, Mr. Hayes. I forgot what I was going to say. There's a lot of questions I get a lot. And yep, Hayes is a nice library too of what we have with John Clark Oz Twits on the Facebook group. Like if you need scans and stuff like that, but normally people we will tell you you don't need to do a bunch of scanning. I'm doing that for you. And and sometimes I don't even have a problem with doing nothing until the strat time report. Let me figure it out. Because like in the mornings, don't be jumping around. Like in the mornings, right on the opening, either if something happening on the gappers right out the chute, I'll tell you. But oftentimes, what I'm doing is I'm trying to figure out what's going on. What are they doing? Right? Oh, okay, cool, man. Thank you. Until I can figure it out. That's why, like, they came out the chute, they're buying energy. And I was like, nah. You got some monthly issues over there. We've seen those things fade, right? But oftentimes I'm just trying to talk it out. What's going on? And just like the Teslers, and you got to be real. You got to be real careful on this setup if you're going to be this kind of guy. But the 3-2, puke. But it's got to stay out of there. There's no messing around on that. A 3-3 will carry you out. But what that means for newer folks especially, that means the buying was rejected up here, right? Came all the way down for an outside bar. And then on the next opening, when it gapped up here and then started puking again, this rejection was still occurring. It just ran out of time. Otherwise, it would have gotten worse. And then that's why Friday was so beautiful. El Puco Mucho. Finally. They'll triangle them out. They always do, just like right here. And so there's another good example of like if you're using the dailies for swing, you got range, right? 2-2, off she goes. And the good thing about that is if you're long from down here, you can stomach one of these triangle layouts here. Might be a little hairy. Not everybody's going to do that, but then, boom, the add on the 2-2 here. They got him good right there, right? Or if you weren't in yet, boom, they washed everybody out here. These guys are gone, going out on the lows, and then you come in, slight gap, and start blasting off. Oh yeah, you got some guys out. Triangled they out. Tizzler on the 30. Here's a nice little triangle layout. There's your hammer, and here's your slight lower low. 2, 2, 2. Bam! Right there. Right there. That's how it's done. Because the 2-2, the slight lower low, stop them out, and then bam, and these three become an outside bar of that. Depending, if you got in down here, you might be able to stomach this right here. The slight lower low, and then boom, off to the races again. And especially for new folks, take it from the people who trade the gap list. 30, 60 gappers is pretty much all you need, right? Then you can branch out forever. Beautiful thing about the Strat, you can branch out, and you can do it with their money, which makes it a lot more of a calm situation. Because if you were here Friday, you can see when you get that nice puking. Strat work, we can catch some big moves. 30 and 60 charts, that's fine. That's good. Stay right on them. And then you go through them 20 minutes after the hour and 10 minutes before the top of the hour. What do you see? Get your hit list ready. And certainly if you're new, don't lose money trying to learn this. If you start losing, stop trading. Most people will grind their accounts into zero thinking they're going to learn something doing that. You aren't. It's just going to make you more scared. You just stop. And the good thing about even paper trading the Strat at first is that it's different than paper trading using classic technical analysis, because classic technical analysis is going to be subjective. And so once money goes on the line, people freak out. The Strat's not that way. That's the good part about training that way. It's exactly the same. And be prepared to get stopped out. That's going to happen, right? I suggest hotkeys instead of pointing and clicking if you can. It makes it easier to get in and out faster. So let's say you get stopped out twice, you're just exhausted from getting stopped out, right? But if you have hotkeys, you might take that third one, and that might be the winner. It's only 0-2, man. You get 3 strikes. Boom. Nice fat one right down the middle. You could set alarms to remind you, and then you just rifle through them. What do you see? If it takes the 30, what's the magnitude on that? Is it going to trigger a 60? If it is, you're going to take that. There you go. Kaz says, I'm not afraid to get stopped out. It's when I don't. Stopped out twice on the way down and thrice on the way up, still made money. So be it. Stop limit orders? There you go. It all depends on the liquidity of the stock and all that kind of stuff, but because sometimes it'll be, stock, stocks that are more liquid that people are like, I wouldn't touch that thing with a 10-foot pole. I like liquidity. We like liquidity. You like illiquidity when you're right and liquidity when you're wrong. Also, another important point that I'll tell people, and I know some people do this and they're successful at it, but if that's not you, I mean, some people will just like Arturo only trades Tesla. That's it, right? What I would tell you is to trade the same condition, not the same stock over and over again. 15ers, okay, it's fine. Takes it as many times it will gap. I use very liquid stocks. There you go. Take me with ya, Mr. Million Print. Liquidity, check the volume and the spread. What's this little guy doing here? KPLT coming up. KPLT potentially coming to a gapper near you. Trying to take the weaker. And with the liquid stuff and the stop limits gives you more, yeah. Let them do the executing for ye. And also, especially if you're brand new, I would watch every video that I make. The nightly video is rarely over 3 minutes. And oftentimes I'll do a lot of teaching during the Strat Time report in that 15 minutes. And I can't stress enough the patience. The patience. If trade doesn't set up, wait. It will. I make vids and lots of them. I make vids and lots of them. Also, we've been living in exhaustion risk for almost forever. I used to laugh when people would come and say, does the strat work in down markets? I'm like, we prefer down markets. We hate these things. There you go. I'm just trading the 30-60 gapper list, are you? 2-2-30 future. 2-2-30 off bottom O to try. 2-2-30 back down. Can you dig it? And this was technically a 2 up. 2-2 down. Goog. Just the regular goog or Google? The regular googer. Ugh. Inside day, inside week. Boo. Let's see. It's a 3-1er though. Either side of that's going to get my attention depending on what's going on. After last week's 2-2 reversal. 2 up, 2 down. Setting up potential 3-monther. This is what we're hoping for. Get a bunch of 3-monthers. Yeah. I want to get into a stock that I can hold for a few days. 2-2. Back into the old tree. Reversing the inside day. Boom. Triangle day out. Get. Boom. And that's another good thing about the Strat. Once you get a hold of one, you don't have to freak out and start selling it. It's like, that's still good. That's still good. Especially if you got this and then you got the follow through day like this haymaker. There you go. Because that's a common problem for non-stratters too. Get stopped out so much that by the time something actually moves, you get out of it because you're used to getting stopped out, having to come back down on you. United Airlines, yeah, the airlines, like I said in the weekend vid, a little stock. So what we're looking for here, you do got a little triangle action here, and you got a hammer on the daily, a little tight in here. So what we're kind of hoping for is the inside mount break in the trannies. Get this baby going. If we can get that baby going, then the good thing about for newer folks, older folks alike, is that United starts going, you look at all the airlines. Do you have a simultaneous break? Do you have the transports breaking? And do you have all the airlines giving you signals at the same time? And the reason that's important, that's a sector-wide simultaneous break, that tells us that they're selling all the airlines, not just one of them, all of them. That's good. That's a high probability. That's going to keep going. They're just spraying the airlines. Everybody. What do you guys want out of? Airlines. Which ones? All of them. So understanding the simultaneous breaks, that's what I'm looking for. So that's like when you see me like today was kind of wishy-washy as far as what they were doing and as far as the sector-wise. The futures came in and I think kind of just sat there for a while. But your hopes is it's these boys. You see CSX, you see? CSX, they're hitting the rails. Right? that we do know. All right? As far as the transports are concerned, CSX, Norfolk Southern, Union Pack, El Dumpo. So those guys are already trying to start the waterfall in the trannies. And we know FedEx has been pig too. Pig for months. There you go. Benny and the Jets. So we'll see how you get out of that. And Once again, it's one of the good things about trading equities is we've got a lot of information, you know, about what they're doing, to who, and where. It's just a cumbersome job. Thus the 16 screens. Supply chain issues. Trucker. Old dirty freight line. How you doing, buddy? Inside day. CHRW. It's kind of stuck. Still inside monther. Yeah, right. Never look at this. No, you never see the same thing again. Nope. Trading the Strat for 3 months. Once you see it, that's all you see. As opposed to, this is my support level. How come it went below it? This is my resistance level. How come it went above it? Because it's actually broadening. Because if you had a stop against that, you're gone. just so you know. Uh, and that's how it works. The 2-1-2. Back through the try she goes. And if that works, it triggers the 2-2 on the weaker. And if that works, you might get the 2-1-2 monther. Because another thing I say a lot is like, what happened here? It actually backed off. Here, look out. That's not right. Took these guys out in one shot. These four, but couldn't take that out. Off the Rev Strat 30, right here. The 2-1-2-2. Boom. Back down she goes. So this is not right. Gonna update you. Back into the middle of the try she goes. Sometimes my charts update funky when I haven't shut them down and recalibrated them. Spy. What's the next two? Which side of this baby? I want to know. Because the nightly vid is out. See, in the morning you got it. Because you got the diamonds inside day. Apple inside day. The diamonds, how are you going to take this thing out? That's what I want to know about. How are you going to do that? Oh, now I remember the analogy I was going to use that I use all the time too. Especially if you're brand new. When I go through all these signals, it's like playing pool. You want to be looking to leave yourself another shot. If this works, what's it create, negate, or do and set up, right? The Tesla, well, it's a Monday. It was a 2 down, so it'd be a reversal on a 2-2 on a Tuesday, and you already have continuity. It's already green, even though it's a 2 down. So as soon as it takes this baby out, that's something I'd want to know about. And go take these guys out. Musk style. Yeah, and the apple inside there. Couldn't put her away. Hoping for the down, sideways measured move puker. Guilty. What? Like some good old Motorola puking days. If anybody was around for those. Back when they used to, back when they went out and the news would hit that they think cell phones cause brain cancer. Oh boy. Moat puke. And if you had the apple on Friday, ooh, that was a beautiful 260, wasn't it? Boom. It's also inside and down on the 15er to trigger that. Boom. Also, remember when Nokia was a monster? Couldn't stop that thing. Flip phone? Bye, bye. Boom. What do you mean, App Store puker? Alright, if there's anything here in the emails, more to do. Game stonk. Right, game stonk. How does it get out of this? That's what I want to know. How do you get out of there? Game stonk. Forever at 200. Well, you're welcome. Event continuity? Yes. So anytime that known news is coming out or has come out, that's something you want to know about because it's like a new opening, right? Because it's new information. So like on Wednesdays, the second hour on the flip, crude oil has a new opening, right? So like that's why Fed minutes, they used to move around a lot more, but you want to know the price of when the Fed comes out, right? Because either side of that, that's a new continuity level. Because now we got new news. It might be a non-event, like we're never raising rates ever again, never. But it's still an event. So, like with Apple, you'd want to know if it can take this out. This is when it hit. If you can get above that, then we'll talk. Guilty. You can't do that. What? Pig. So this level, if you could have retaken that, then we'll talk. All those keyboard smashers. This is stupid. The news is bad. Bye, bye. I'll tell you who's stupid. Well, what's nice with the GME, if you do it right, you may as well sell some of that preem when it gets juicy. I wanted to go to 10,000. I'm like, let's just take in like $30 in a day of the premium. You can always buy it back. For the apes. Right now, AMC's the winner. Good. Rev Strat Monther. The mental side of this is crazy. Yeah, right. That's why that's what we know. We know that, and that's what we're doing with the multiple time frames. You think differently when you're in a winner than you do when you're in a loser. And that's why when we look at these certain levels, I'm like, these guys turn into losers here. And if this works, these losers trigger these losers. hmm And we've got buyers on our side. Anybody have a good example of a measured move off the top of their head? A measured move, all that means is like, so let's say you have a nice long green bar like this, and it doesn't have to necessarily be inside, but let's say you had like a doji or something in here, and it starts gunning. We're looking for another one of these. Preferably coming back through the previous range, right? And the reason that works is right here, really aggressive buyer, right? And people getting steamrolled on the short side, right? So what will happen oftentimes is that the buyers come in real fast, right? But then they sit on the bid. Say, okay, I bought up my first round, right? But I'm gonna try and buy it on the bid. I'm not gonna just keep gunning this thing. I've got more to buy, but I'm gonna sit on the bid, right? And then what will happen to the short guys? They're just like, well, let's just sit in here. I'm gonna see if it rolls over, right? Then if the buyer's not getting stock later in the day or whatever period it is, he's like, screw it, not getting stock. Another round, and that blows out all the guys who got jammed in here, and they're buying stock. So it's kind of like a Momo hammer, where once it's over, you want to know about that too, because you're creating order vacuums, right? But hopefully they have more, because what will happen is, let's say I'm a huge buyer and it goes up, I don't get any stock, and then I run it again, right? And I'm blowing out all the shorts. But if my buy order's done, sometimes it'll just crater after that because you're creating your order vacuum. There's nothing in there, right? For SPY, if you went long when the 230 hour went 3 up, yeah, you wouldn't hold that overnight. SPY, if you got the 3-2er here, you're nowhere near taking this baby out. I wouldn't hold that on a Monday. No way. We prefer this still to the downside. Maybe it goes, maybe it doesn't, but good. If it's really going to go, it's going to take that baby out, right? But we don't have evidence of that just yet. Cool, nice job. And that's why you'll always hear me say, I'm like, we're always gaining more evidence. Tomorrow we uncouple 4 separate openings. That's good. That's a good thing. Monday's usually piker day. Piker day. I've been looking at charts all weekend, and here's my best ideas. Boom, puke. Good for your ideas. What are you doing, Rob? I'm like, waiting for your ideas to fail. Because I know where your stop is. Everybody does. I'm going to put my stop on the low of the day. That's why the better you get at the strat, the funnier charts become. Watch this. No research. Just walking right in. Rob, what are they doing? What are they doing? That. Where's it going? There. You sure? Yeah. Yep. Okay, we watched the weekend vids. That's good. It's good to have a general idea what's going on. because sometimes I'm mighty certain on where we're going, and other times I'll be like, it's got to do that, and that would have to, this has to do that, but that's why one is painfully slow. Shirts are hilarious. Watch what's going to happen to these guys. NVIDIA. So what do we know about NVIDIA? NVIDIA outside day to the downside. If that's right. Yeah. Let's make sure these are all right. So NVIDIA just kind of stalling out here. So one of the things. This is the weekly. All right. So it's trying to go down a little bit on the, just kind of drifting lower on the weekly. Not the end of the world. But you got this monthly red here too. And you do have an outside bar. Here's the try the out. Hey, you. So here's the lower level track actually coming into this stuff and took these guys out. You can see the chop shop in here. Killed. It's getting murdered in here. So what you could get, and here's another example of measured move too, is like if these guys are just backed off and then they come back and you can go two back up on this thing, then you might go up, sideways measured move. Maybe. Right now it's just drifting down. So we know to watch this with QQQ here, right? And also with SMH to see what these things are doing, right? SMH goes hammer counter shooter today, but still inside weaker. But it is green on the month, so you can watch all those combinations together. So much like a simultaneous break would be all the semis going in the same direction, there's oftentimes that's not happening. And you can see that they're only buying NVIDIA. Like some of the times when it was blasting off, it was just NVIDIA. So we'll see. Still somewhat early in the month, somewhat of a choppy range, and so now you get your outside bar. So that's something we can pay attention to. Now we've got a discernible broadening formation. I don't even have to draw it. It's right here. Which has been a little grindy up in here. Look at it. Tried to hit it off the inside day. Stop these guys out. Then tried to go 2-1-2 back up. Half-hearted micro try. Said, okay, we're really going to try and take it up this time, are you? Boom! Ow! Ow! And on a continuity entry, there's another thing you can do. As soon as this baby went red, you could hit it right there. Right there. Like, well, why? This outside bars exist. Is this two failing? Looks like it to me. Below that level. Boom. Give me outside day. Some of that stuff's going to be a little fast, though, so. But you can do that. But it looks like we're coming up on an hour. But we do this every week, and I will post this immediately on my YouTube. So you got that right away. Peloton, yeah, the only reason it's not in the video because they ain't nowhere near taking it out. Maybe to the downside, but sometimes I'll call stuff like that off and just be like, mother bar, I'll tell you when it breaks, but all right, gang. You everybody have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you bright and early for more fun on a Tuesday. All right. Good night.